Nigerian Prince. The infamous Nigerian Prince scam involves what is called advance fee fraud, or 419 fraud. It usually begins with the fraudster, often posing as a Nigerian prince, contacting you via email with a subject line like, "Your assistance is needed, important, dear sir or madam," and so on. This scam involves promising you a significant share, upwards of 50% of supposed millions, of unclaimed money, sometimes even in the form of gold bars. The scammer requests a small upfront payment from you, claiming that it will be used to obtain the sum. They can forge false documents that have official government stamps and seals, and utilize fake addresses or websites to present themselves as more legitimate. Most recipients are not gullible enough to respond to these emails, but a small percentage do, enough to make the scam worthwhile. In any case where victims fall for the scam and willingly transfer the money, the perpetrator has them use an irreversible channel such as a wire transfer and simply pocket the cash afterwards. At this point, the fraudster might invent a series of further scams or simply disappear altogether. It is simple to avoid this scam, as they all have some standard features that can be easily recognized. However, with the rise of AI, these kinds of emails are constantly improving in their legitimacy. For one, the sender's email address is usually very long and comes from a suspicious-looking domain, but as a general rule, emails in which the context is unaware to you should not be trusted. If it comes from a country you have no ties to and promises an unrealistic amount of money or asks you to send money in advance, it is likely fake. Tech support. Technical support scams rely on social engineering to persuade you into believing that your device is infected with malware. These tricks are meant to target victims with little tech literacy, such as senior citizens. Scammers use a variety of confidence tricks to convince you that your computer has critical problems that must be ameliorated. Many variants of this scam begin with unprompted phone calls, where the fraudster claims to be associated with Microsoft. However, there are some infected website pop-ups that resemble legitimate error messages, such as the blue screen of death, that then instruct you to call the scammers via a phone number to fix the error. Once you contact a scammer, they then tell you to install a remote access program such as TeamViewer. The scammer will say, "I am going to give you a secure code," which in reality is just an ID number that lets them control your computer through the program. After gaining access, the scammer may claim that the purported problems are caused by expired or faulty hardware, then coax you into paying for a phony renewal service. Sometimes, scammers will block you from viewing your screen, claiming that it is the result of a malware scan being run, but use this time to break into your bank account or activate your webcam to see your face. Gift cards are the favored payment method because they are easy to buy and have less consumer protections in place, allowing the scammer to remain anonymous. Refusing to follow the scammer's instructions can result in psychological abuse and other threats to procure payment. To avoid tech support call scams, never respond to unsolicited calls claiming your computer has a problem, even if the caller ID looks believable. Scammers can spoof caller ID to appear legitimate, so remain cautious. Ignore pop-up messages asking you to call tech support, and never give remote access to your computer to someone you don't know and trust. Email phishing. Email phishing is a scam that attempts to trick you into giving away sensitive information, sent in bulk to thousands of people at a time. The subject lines are often written to appeal to strong emotions and create a sense of urgency. The body of the email usually instructs you to take a seemingly reasonable action, something you might actually be tempted to click on. When you click the link, it takes you to a fake website that steals your login credentials or other information. The stolen information is used to install malware on your computer, steal your money, or spread the phishing scams even further. Your account, if compromised, may also be sold on the dark web. One example of email phishing is when the Russian group Fancy Bear targeted Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign with phishing attacks on over 1,000 Google accounts using the accounts-google.com domain as opposed to accounts.google.com. Additionally, scammers often time their phishing campaigns to align with holidays and other events where people are more susceptible to pressure. These emails include fake deals and payment problems to take advantage of people's lowered guards, which often spike around Christmas, where thousands of people are using Amazon or other web services to order gifts for their loved ones. While these emails are usually caught by spam filters, it's still important to be cautious. The best thing to do when faced with a phishing email is to approach the situation with a calm head, especially when dealing with one of apparently urgent nature. Make sure to verify the sender's email address for legitimacy, and don't respond to any emails that request your financial and personal information. Lastly, hover over links to check their true destination before clicking, and avoid downloading any unexpected email attachments. Catfishing. Catfishing refers to the creation of a fake identity used to mislead you into an online romantic relationship. It is often employed by the perpetrators, called catfish, on dating apps or social media in order to obtain a feeling of social gain. Typically, the catfish uses an external individual's photos to make themselves appear genuine, but recent developments in AI can allow them to accomplish this without worrying that the images will be traced back to their real profiles. These techniques, among others, are used by what are called romance scammers. These scammers are masters of manipulation, using various love-bombing strategies to make you fall in love with them in order to exploit your feelings for financial gain. They build up what appears to be a genuine loving relationship with comments such as, "One day we'll be married," and "You're my soulmate." Once they have successfully lured you into a false sense of security, they will then ask you for money in various forms, such as airplane tickets, in order to pay you a visit. Conversely, they might invite you to their own country, only for you to be robbed and beaten or murdered when you arrive. Many victims, when confronted with strong evidence that their relationship is a fraud, react angrily or violently against anyone who objects. Catfishing and romance scams can take many forms, but there are several common characteristics to look out for. If the person you are talking to repeatedly postpones or refuses in-person meetings, often at the last minute with increasingly elaborate excuses, they may be using you in order to boost their confidence. Look for photo backgrounds that may be inconsistent with their supposed locations, and names or other information that don't match with what the individual says. However, romance scammers often keep discussion about themselves to the minimum, so stay on the lookout for people who refuse to open up or talk face-to-face despite claiming to love you. If they shower you with compliments and grandiose promises early on, they likely see you as a vulnerable individual that they can eventually rope into a romance scam scheme. Robocalls. Robocalls, also called voice phishing or vishing, is where attackers send automated phone calls to large numbers of people, sometimes using text-to-speech synthesizers, claiming that fraudulent activity has been found on their accounts. For example, the attacker could pretend to be from the IRS, requesting that you pay a fake tax bill and saying that your social security number will be compromised if you refuse to comply. Another example involves the caller tricking you into dialing a specific phone number, which then reroutes all incoming calls and text messages you receive to the scammer's device. In turn, the scammer intercepts bank messages and one-time passwords, completely unbeknownst to you. Urgency is strategically employed to lower your guard and prompt immediate action, and as a result, it is often more successful than email phishing. The best thing to do to avoid getting scammed by a robocall is to ignore calls from unknown numbers. If you mistakenly pick up, hang up as soon as possible. Avoid following any instructions the bot gives you, and never respond to any questions. These calls frequently open with the line, "Hello, can you hear me?" to which users habitually reply yes. The scammers then store your voice and use it to make you appear to agree to things that you never agreed to. Reducing all interaction is your best approach, as any engagement with a robocaller lets them know that you are a potential subject for further scamming. Pyramid scheme. Pyramid schemes are a type of scam that promises investors large sums of money for recruiting others into the scheme, rather than selling actual products or services. It's called a pyramid scheme because each new member must bring in more people below them, creating multiple levels. In this type of scam, an investor asks you to make a small payment to join, and in exchange, promises you a share of money taken from every additional member that you recruit. For those at the top of the pyramid, the scheme is highly lucrative, because each layer of new recruits have a strong incentive to continue recruiting and funneling money to the top of the pyramid. For a pyramid scheme to make money for everyone who enrolls in it, it would have to expand indefinitely. Unlike legitimate businesses, pyramid schemes don't sell anything of value, depending on an endless supply of recruits instead. Those who join later can't find new people, and when the scheme inevitably runs out of new recruits, it collapses. You can avoid pyramid schemes easily if you know what to look for. Be cautious of promises of fast cash or easy passive income. If the program focuses solely on recruiting others to join the program for a fee, and if no genuine product or service is sold, it is likely a pyramid scheme. Grandparent. A grandparent scam involves a phone call made to an elderly person with a family member claiming to be in some kind of trouble. The common recipients of this scam are the elderly, but it can happen to anyone who isn't careful. The voice on the phone is the scammer pretending to be your family member, speaking with urgency to motivate you to act without thinking critically. Traditionally, the caller claims that they have a cold so that you let slide the mismatched voice. However, recent developments in AI have been able to replicate voices of family members to a scarily accurate degree, and phone numbers can be spoofed to look legitimate. They can easily claim that their phone died and are calling from a different number, potentially then attempting to extract your sensitive information. The easiest way to avoid this scam is to create a safe word that is shared between your family members and loved ones, along with some sort of protocol to verify their information that isn't readily available to scammers. Make sure your safe word isn't something guessable or easy to find online, and be sure to discuss the creation of said safe word in places where there isn't any technology that could potentially listen in on your conversation. Social media. In recent times, social media such as Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter, have become an attractive venue for cybercriminals. Since being open about personal details has become encouraged on social media accounts, attackers can easily trick vulnerable people into disclosing other sensitive information. For example, scammers may try to befriend you in an attempt to steal money, or pretend to be a friend or acquaintance in trouble to lower your guard, making you more susceptible to clicking a malicious link. link. Sometimes, scammers will pose as customer support staff and contact dissatisfied customers that aired their grievances in comments or posts on a business's social media account. During the interaction, the scammer verifies your personal details and then provides a link, obviously malware, to help resolve your issues. These scams can be easily avoided by exercising the right amount of caution. Try to limit the sharing of your personal information or other details through social media, especially with people you don't know well, and learn to identify suspicious links in messages or posts. Verify accounts and messages before interacting, and look for verification badges on social media accounts. Lastly, if you encounter any suspicious profiles, block and report them. Pig butchering. Pig butchering is a type of long-term scam in which you are gradually lured into making increasing contributions to a sham cryptocurrency scheme. The term comes from the idea that scammers fatten you up by gaining your trust over a long period of time, then slaughter you by reaping you of your money. These scams came from China, but eventually gained international momentum through online dating apps and social media platforms. Like catfishing, the fraudsters create elaborate false identities to develop emotional connections with you, and then exploit you for your money. Scams often begin with seemingly harmless conversations initiated by the scammer, who pretend to have texted a wrong number. When you respond to say that they have the wrong number, the scammer then attempts to start a friendship with you. These conversations can be platonic or romantic in nature, but their sole purpose is to gain your trust in order to prepare you for the crypto scam they have planned. You are eventually encouraged to try out a fake cryptocurrency investment website that appears to be highly successful, and after persuading you to invest, they collect the funds in such a way that complicates tracking and tracing of the transactions. Once a substantial amount has been collected, they erase their online presence, leaving you with no way to recover your funds. To avoid a pig butchering scam, be extremely wary of unsolicited messages, especially from wrong numbers that act overly friendly and talk about cryptocurrency. Never share personal financial information with someone you haven't thoroughly verified, and always research financial platforms before committing funds. If something seems too good to be true, it likely is. Scam texts. Scam texts are also known as SMS phishing or smishing. Scammers generally use apps such as SMS, WhatsApp, and Facebook Messenger to scam you out of money or personal information. For example, you may receive a text message claiming that you have a package from USPS detained and that you need to confirm your credentials within 24 hours in order to secure your package. The message includes a link that steals your data or installs malware onto your phone. Another example is that you might receive a message claiming to be from your bank telling you that your debit card is being locked or your account is being closed, and to log into a website to prevent that from happening. Some of these messages may report the existence of a fraudulent transaction in which you are asked to cancel it to receive your refund. The message will provide you with a phone number to call, and if you comply, the scammers will attempt to extract your credit card and banking information. To prevent yourself from being smished, avoid tapping on links in unsolicited text messages. Block and report suspicious or unknown numbers, and verify the legitimacy of messages by contacting the impersonated organization directly. You can also use mobile security software to intercept malicious messages before they arrive. QR codes. A relatively new trend in internet scams is a type of phishing by the use of QR codes, colloquially known as quishing. In this type of scam, fraudsters exploit the convenience of QR codes in order to trick you into giving up your personal information. Unlike the aforementioned email phishing, quishing uses QR codes that bypass built-in spam filters because they are perceived by many secure email gateways as meaningless images. However, QR codes in every implementation can be fraudulent. In some cases, stickers are placed over legitimate QR codes on public flyers and posters from trusted businesses. When you scan the QR code, you are redirected to a spoofed website specifically designed to steal financial details or login credentials. As people tend to place blind faith in QR codes and may not scrutinize them as carefully as a URL or email link, the chances of falling for the scam is much higher. A recent large-scale example of quishing happened in 2020 when Discord introduced QR codes as an alternative way to log in. Fraudsters sent QR codes claiming to offer a month of free Nitro, but when scanned, the code would allow the hacker to log in to the victim's account and access all of their personal data. Fortunately, preventing yourself from falling victim to a QR code scam is easy. First, verify the source of the QR code before scanning, and try to avoid scanning random or unsolicited QR codes. You can also use specific QR code scanners that show the URL before opening it.